Right, I've got some more goodies for the VXR. Very close to being ready for mapping now, but I wanted to fit a fuel pump, a recirc and a wastegate just to be safe. The wastegate's not going on in this video, they ordered one yet, but I do have the bracket in this box. So this is the fuel pump from Courtenay Sport, which is a Sytec. I call themselves Sytec Motorsport. I don't know if they're any good as a brand, to be honest. I saw one forum post with a review of them saying not the worst, but I couldn't get any of the ASNU like direct fit ones. Apparently the slots in the bottom of the pump on this are a direct fit. The plug might be, but I'll have to check when I'm about to fit it to the car. But yeah, Courtenay Sport sell it, so it can't be too bad. These are slightly wider and longer than the ASNU pumps and the factory one, so there's a bit more trimming than usual required to get these to fit, but I'll show you that in a bit. And there's good instructions on Court's website. Got a new O-ring for the fuel tank lid, just in case. This is Court's thicker wastegate bracket that they do, which will be going on either in a future video or maybe the guy that maps it will fit the wastegate for me. Not sure what's happening there, but the final thing is Turbosmart Shorty, I think they call it, compact recirc valve, which is Courtenay Sport branded as well, white labelled, I guess. So when you let off the throttle, this thing pops open. Factory ones have a weak rubber diaphragm in them that splits. Guess these are all metal, which is why you want one of these, so you don't have any issues with boost in the future. So I'll go ahead and get the fuel pump fitted first, and if I have time before I have to go out later, recirc as well. You do have to be careful not to break the car before going out, but we'll see how it goes.
First things first, I'm disconnecting the battery and completely removing it from the car because we don't want any sparks starting any massive fires or explosions while the fuel tank lid is off. And with the battery out of the way, we now have to unclip the rear seats by using these pull tabs and then lifting up and pressing back to sort of unclip the rear clips so that we can get to the fuel pump and the fuel tank, which are underneath the rear bench.
So that's the seats out. I guess this carpet's still in the way. I'll just pull that out of the way. That's for the trick for getting the rear bench out. You want to lift up, push back towards the seat, then sort of lift up again and pull forwards. It's weird, but there's sort of a trick to it once you've done it once. Doing it again is not that bad. So I'm going to grab a screwdriver and get this cover popped off and the metal slide thing that holds the fuel tank lid on hammered off as well. So now we can disconnect the plug for the fuel sender and the fuel pump. Sort off because it gets stuck on that metal lip. Just took that out of the way. I have to clean up this area with machine cleaner or something because it's grotty as out. Look at all that grot. But then we can disconnect these fuel barbs and start smashing this ring round, which will release the lid from the fuel tank.
Before removing any fuel lines, it's a good idea to take the cap off this little bleed screw and poke in the ball bearing to release any built-up fuel pressure, making sure to collect it with a rag afterwards. This should help stop fuel from spraying everywhere when you release the fuel barbs, which can be done by poking one side of the clip with a screwdriver, holding the line to the other side from the clip that you just pressed in, and then unclipping the other side with your screwdriver. The lines are a bit of a tight fit, but you should easily enough be able to pull them out and tuck them out of the way so that you're free to open the lid of the fuel tank.
There we go. Fuel tank lid retaining ring removed. I don't know if it just twists or if it unclips. Oh, it just pops off. And now we have an open fuel tank, so no sparks. Please. There you go.
I've unclipped the tabs on either side of the little plastic bracket that holds in the top of the fuel pump, and this will allow me to lift the fuel pump out of the tank and then undo the plug and the convoluted fuel pipe on the top of it with it out the tank so it's easier to get to.
I'm going to try and get this plug off and this flexi pipe, convoluted pipe, and I'll catch up with you in a minute. Right, I had a bit of a nightmare getting that out. As you can see, the nipple for, I don't know if that's the feed or return or, yeah, anyway, yeah, this nipple snapped off while I was trying to pull the convoluted fuel tube off. No big deal, because I don't intend on reusing the pump. If I have to reuse it, then the new one's broken or something. Well, the best work now, but yeah, I had to basically crush up the end of this in the pipe and extract it, so no bits of plastic were blocking the pipe. But it came off quicker than pulling the pipe off, but yeah, they're on there pretty hard and you have to be really careful not to snap them. So learn from my mistakes. The new fuel pump is a bit fatter than the old one. So it comes to the top part of this housing, which on the Astra H is the only bit that you have to, this won't slot in.
So the plan is, according to the fitting instructions, to cut away all but like the top 5mm of that inner circle to fit the wider top part of the pump, leaving just enough to hold the pump in from the top. Here I'm just using a cutting disc on my Dremel, passing it through the middle of the ring and just cutting through that one layer and then removing the support tabs that support it to the outer layer.
So this is the end result. You want to make sure you've got any loose bits of plastic off, because you don't want them in your fuel tank. But other than that, this is ready to go. If you look, there's only a little bit of a lip. Now we've cut off most of the inside, and that just holds on to, once I push it down, just holds on to the rim there. Compared with this fuel pump, see the bottom of the holder is in about the same place, loose enough to just rotate. So that's what we want when it comes to modifying the upper fuel pump housing for this Sytec or the ASNUs that aren't direct fit. I do recommend just getting the R&D one that you don't have to drop anything for.
That is, if they ever have them in stock.
Using the Jubilee clip that comes with the fuel pump, I've just clamped this convoluted fuel hose back on.
And with the fuel hose reattached, the pump can be situated back in the tank, which I'll apologise now for making a complete mess of filming. But basically that circle on the bottom of the fuel pump wants to line up with the silver ring inside the basket, then the ring on top of the fuel pump can be spun to the right orientation and clipped back on. And after plugging the fuel pump back in, with the factory plug, no wiring needed, that is our upgraded fuel pump officially fitted. And now we can start putting the back of the car back together. I had to fish the old fuel tank lid seal out of the tank because it dropped in when the lid came off, but I ordered a brand new one just to make sure the seal's good, so I'm going to go ahead and fit that, making sure that it's seated in the little groove properly and that the mating surfaces are clean first.
So that looks like the stop movement now, and these are flush with the edges. So I'm thinking that's it. I'll grab my rag, which is under the camera, whack around here, let the plugs off, plug it back in, see a few primes. give it a bit to air out, and then I'll put the battery back on and see if she chooches before putting this dust cover back on the rear seat. So you don't want to put it completely back together and then find out that the car's broken. I checked another video, and you actually want this bit touching here. So that's the stopping point for the lock ring, but you can still knock it around a bit with these attached. So that's all done now. Fun sparks after you've just had bloody petrol tank open, innit? I'm just going to clamp this down quickly, and then we'll see how it goes. Still starts up. That is the question. In theory, should have been a simple job, hard to do wrong, but we'll see. The last bit by hand gives a better sort of feel. That'll do. Same for the other one. Bloody loud, this thing, but it works. Runs, so job well done. Now onto the recirc valve. Rear bench. That needs to go in. Honestly, not sure how to get this clip back in. Press it down and back. A nice seat back here, actually. If I figure out the trick to getting these done, then I'll let you know. If not, then just assume it was a lot of struggling, and I'll cut straight to the recirc if that is the case. Right, so onto the Turbosmart recirc. You'll see the factory one down there with the little blue vacuum tube going into it. There. I'm going to take this intake off for better access both to film and to get my hands and a ratchet in. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead with that. And it's simply 3 bolts to get the recirculation valve off. So now, if I chuck this in here, that is factory recirc valve, and obviously here's what we're replacing it with. We probably want a 5mm hex key, like so, on a U-joint, with the extension as well. Hopefully there's enough room to get all of this lot in. The U-joint's obviously going to make it a lot easier, and it just looks like that will clear the coolant pipe. We are loosen. So get that lined up. Right, so what I ended up doing is taking the ratchet off at the U-joint and reattaching it afterwards. Probably have to use it as a manual ratchet, like that. I'll do the other two then, show you what the factory recirc valve looks like. It's probably best to pull the vacuum tube off first. like that. The recirc is sandwiched between this bracket and the turbo, if you can see it. Just pull this diaphragm out, which it seems to have left in there. But here it is, the old factory recirc, and surprisingly, the diaphragm on mine looks bob on. A bit crusty around the edges, but hey, that's not bad. I don't know if you can see, but in there I think there's ports at the top left or something. Anyway, there's a specific direction, I think top left, that you want these ports on the old Turbosmart to face. I believe it's up and left, so this is the top nut on the Turbosmart. So I'll throw a picture up on screen of why that is, that you want these ports pointed that way, like up and back towards the engine.
So you can see the port back into the intake, and when you let off, that's where all the boost goes.
So there's only 3 ways this can go in, because there's 3 bolt holes, but this way they're pointed at the entrance to the compressor, which is where the air is going to go when the recirc lets it out, from compressed in here to low pressure, atmospheric pressure in the intake. If you do it the wrong way around, the port's going to be blocked off and the recirc is just not going to function. You're just going to get tons of flutter. I'm going to go ahead and start fitting this, and I'm going to prove that it really is so easy that you can do it one-handed while filming. Turbosmart do provide nice new screws in the packet, nice and shiny, and a 90-degree fitting for the vacuum line if you want to. How do you screw that in though? One-handed. So there's just one more to do, which is the worst one, and I might cut away for that. I don't know if you can see that, but the Turbosmart recirc is fitted. If I just push this vacuum line on, it's done and dusted really. Nice and easy. Oh, and then pushing the vacuum line on is clearly not easy. Anyway, that's basically on. I'll tidy that up off camera. But yeah, intake has to go back on, but otherwise we're done. So with the ratchet, what I did was I whacked it on full blast, then added about a quarter turn, which is what it took to undo them. Basically it was a quarter turn before the ratchet would undo them. So yeah, just the exact same. Don't want to do it too tight and pinch the rubber seals or strip the bolts out of your compressor housing. But yeah, really easy job, and see if I can show you how it sounds. What I think was the problem with my original recirc was probably this spring too loose, or all of this stuff that's sort of around the outside, stopping it sealing properly. So you could hear it whistling on boost. I think it's got to be that, because it's definitely coming through the intake, the noise. I mean, partial throttle, not even on boost. It's like always sort of leaking air, which is not good for the running of the car. So hopefully this makes a noticeable difference to how the car drives. But if your recirc is functioning, all this is going to do is just be able to take more boost. I think the Turbosmart is rated for 35 psi or something like that. In case you're wondering, you can fit a Turbosmart recirc valve in less time, one-handed while filming, might add, than it takes to cook a Greg's frozen sausage roll from Iceland. So I'll give that a scram and then I'll go for a drive, I guess. Right, full tank of momentum, just leaving Big Tesco in Share. Nice family gathering, but if the car had broken I wouldn't have made it to, as I said earlier. Which is always fun. It means you get it right. Right? So, new recirc fitted, car runs flawlessly. So that squeaking I was hearing at like part throttle and when letting off, like hissing I guess, constantly at part throttle, especially on the motorway, was definitely the recirc blowing open, because this thing has so much more torque now than it used to have. So I'll get some sound bites just to join the parkway and stuff, and then switch this off. I hope you can hear this as good as I can. That noise is just exquisite. It's so good. Should we do another? Sounds it makes now. Could do with one of them in front. V6 diesel Touareg. Be a good tow car. Maybe recommission the old Vectra diesel though. I'm sure that can tow an Astra. I might have to check. sound's done it. This might just be me rambling, so I think I've got enough sound clips. I mean, it seems to constantly be the case, but this is the best the car has ever driven. There's so much more torque now, it's not essentially got a constant boost leak. And it sounds just immense. Like that is just ridiculous. And we made the lights. Put the windows up a bit. Let's see. We can't make it. I'll leave this running while I join Parkway anyway. Just exquisite. That's so good. The noises this car makes now are unreal. I definitely recommend the Turbosmart. If you fit it the right way around, so it doesn't never stop fluttering, so it does actually open. Because I know that's a problem people have. They'll just flutter and not as well because they've fitted them the wrong way around or it's faulty. But in my case, I've got lucky, got a good one, and fitted it the right way up. That is just unbeatable. It's a lot of money, especially if you're stock Recirc is working, but to know you're never going to have a problem with it again, it's kind of worth it. So I'm going to stop the video now and stick my music back on, hands free of course, and just enjoy the ride. Thanks for watching. I hope the video helped or was at least entertaining for you, and see you in the next one.